What's up, guys? Welcome to the second edition of the Inside My Journal on the journey of starting Rogue Risk, my independent insurance agency that will be launching here in Q1 of 2020. And what I want to talk about today, there's so many things. I have a laundry list of items, everything from simple stuff like registering an LLC to getting a logo. Choosing a name, Rogue Risk. I've had some people reach out to me about, in particular, the name. So I want to start there and just talk briefly about the name Rogue Risk. And there's a couple things there. On a really shallow basis, I just liked the alliteration, like Rogue Risk. My name is Ryan. I'm used to R's. R's kind of roll off the tongue. I like that rogue and risk are single syllable words. Rogue Risk. If I like that rogue is the kind of term that, even though it has a very defined meaning, it's a type of word that can transcend the Webster's dictionary and kind of, I think, stand for both the mission of the business, the purpose of the business, and be a brand that has legs. Like, who do you do your insurance with? Oh, I'm with Rogue. Oh, who's Rogue? Like, it kind of catches your name. It's a little different than most insurance agencies are titled. Most of them are either like a town or a last name. There's been some, especially with digital, that have gone outside that. Like Nick Ayers' agency is called ThriveSure. So there's been Portal Insurance, which is Bradley Flowers' new agency. So there have been names that have transcended outside of just either the town that you live in or the last name of the owner. But I didn't want either one of those things for sure. And I liked the idea that what we're doing at Rogue, and today I say we, it's just me, but hopefully soon there'll be more people, is coming up with a way of delivering insurance services that makes us indispensable and that is completely discernible from our competition. And we're going to do that by not placating to any of the norms, right? That doesn't mean that we won't do stuff that normal, traditional, independent insurance agencies do. What I'm saying is I don't have a bias towards digital or towards traditional, and I think that's the key, right? Is I don't want to be, I'm going to absolutely take this from traditional agencies and absolutely take this from digital agencies. And no, I want to be like the Bruce Lee of independent insurance agencies, meaning I want to do what's best for my customers and for the people who ultimately work for this agency. Today it's just me, like I said, but as this grows, I want this business to do whatever is right, regardless of what the best practice is or what the most commonly done thing is or what people might question about our business. I don't care. Like, everything I've ever done in this industry from day one, 12 years ago at the Murray Group, has been questioned. My ideas have been questioned. And today, some of those things are considered commonplace. But more than a decade ago, every single idea that I had was being second guessed. So I'm okay with it. I've grown up in this industry being questioned. And I guess Rogue embodies the idea that we are not going to placate the norms. Always within the context of not just to buck the trend. I'm not doing this just to be an anti-agency. I want to do what's best without a bias for the medium or whatever. I want to make sure that we set this business up in a way that allows us to be successful and allows us to create an experience that is uniquely valuable to the organizations and individuals with which we serve. And I don't have the language of the mission and purpose completely defined. I have a sketch pad of ideas, so I'm still working on that part, and I'll share that when I get there. I don't think has to be done immediately, but kind of on the surface, I liked Rogue Risk. It fit some of my own naming constructs, which is like as few syllables as possible. I like that Rogue can stand alone. I like that Risk gets us back into the insurance space. And it also was available. The URL was available. So, and then I passed it by my wife, who tends to be more conservative than I am just on these types of things. And she liked the name. So when I liked the name and she liked the name, I said, bam, we got it. Because last year when I was thinking about making this same move, I wasn't ready fully like I am now. But the name I was going to go with then was Indigo, and Indigo coverage. And, blue is empathy and purple is creativity. And when you mash those two colors together, you get indigo. So it was the mixing of creativity and empathy, and insurance agency was the idea. I think that has value, but the name Indigo was kind of like, but Rogue Risk, I think, fits me if it's what we're trying to do. So I'm very happy with that. All right. So that's the name. The name is set in stone. The LLC is being registered as we talk, or as I speak. So like next week, that'll be official. I'll have to get that entity licensed. I have the URL. I haven't started working on the website yet. So we have that to do. I'm considering a couple different website vendors. Haven't made my mind up right now. I'm really just choosing between Forge 3 and Advisor Evolved. Chris Langell and I have been friends for a very long time. I like his work. I think it's clean. But Forge 3 does a wonderful job too. So I'm choosing there, just in full transparency. I haven't made my mind up yet. So here's the next thing. The question that I keep getting over and over and over again is, how are you going to get appointments? Like, how are you going to get appointments? Like, good luck, Ryan, but good luck getting appointments. Or how do you plan on getting appointments? Like appointments, it's just the fact that carrier appointments is something that people they just look at like, oh my God, how are you going to get appointments? Like, that's really the feedback that I've gotten. And I completely understand it, right? I mean, there are carriers who make getting appointments tremendously difficult. Like, it is this prize that you win. And I understand that from the carrier perspective. I've spent enough time with carriers to know that you don't just fan out appointments like crazy, because if you give an appointment to a slug or to an agency that's not going to take care of that appointment, it can have real impact on resource allocation or profitability. So you want to be careful. And I completely understand that. Appointments, here's how I'm handling appointments. I'm not going to beg for appointments. I'm going to choose the carriers that I want to work with, and they will either choose to work with me or not. And I'm assuming some of those will say no. Hopefully a few say yes. And if they don't, I'm going to work with Indium, which is Seth Zaremba and a few other agents partner together to form an MGA called Indium. Chad Eddy runs it. It's a tremendous operation. And what I love about Indium in particular, and I've had time to look through their contract, is that unlike other MGAs who are really using you as a mechanism to build their own book of business, Indium operates in a way that at any given time, without any penalty, once I get my book of business to a place with a particular carrier in which I would want to move that out onto my own, and that carrier would give me a direct appointment, then I can do that without any penalty. It's an incredibly agent-friendly setup from an MGA and wholesaler perspective. So Indium is absolutely going to be part of the future of Rogue Risk, especially at the beginning and as we launch up off the ground. And I would assume if things go well and they're happy and I'm happy, we'll continue that relationship. At the beginning, they'll probably be one of my primary mechanisms for writing business. I am hoping to get a few direct appointments. Now, Rogue will be a primarily commercial insurance, commercial lines focused agency. That's going to be our lead product. That being said, I'd be silly not to write personal lines in life too. So life will probably be something I do Q2, Q3. I'm not going to lead with life, but life insurance is an important part in particular of a personal lines kind of package program, personal risk program. So I think term life in particular plays an important role there. We don't have to dissect term whole and whether or not that should be handled by someone who specifically does life or not. It is my personal opinion that a property casualty insurance agent is doing their clients a disservice by not offering term life as an extension of their overall personal insurance program that they write with them. So life will become part of that. I'll probably use either Finio, I think it is, out of Toronto, or there's a couple other agent-friendly kind of life wholesalers that can help you get access to multiple life carriers. I'm not particularly interested in working hard for a direct life appointment, so I'll probably use someone who can help me get access and make the process easier for both me and my staff and the clients that we work with. So that's probably how I'll handle life, at least for the foreseeable future. That's my plan. Back to property casualty insurance appointments. So I said I'm going to choose the carriers that I want to work with because from my perspective, I am doing a service to the carriers that I work with. The carriers are not, like, to me, if you choose not to appoint me, that's your decision. But one, I do not take that as a reflection of my own business. And two, I'm just gonna go write the business with someone else. So I wanna align with carriers who want to do business and are interested in trying, or I guess since I'm so new and this is a startup, taking a risk to a certain extent on a startup agency, that they're really taking a risk on me. And if they're willing to do that, then I'm willing to sit down and have that conversation about an appointment. But what I'm not gonna do is just spray the carrier market and hope I get a couple direct appointments. It's not that important to me. I'll write through an MGA until I build up my book of business if I have to. But what's been interesting, so here's just a couple interesting things on this particular topic. So my first target carrier from a commercial lines perspective has been Cincinnati. I've had detailed conversations with them for over a year and a half. We'll see. I think they seem interested in potentially taking a risk on Rogue or taking a shot on Rogue and being part of what I'm trying to build here. That's very exciting to me. Cincinnati is a best-in-class carrier, and particularly on the commercial line side, though also on personal. And to have them in my shop would be very exciting. So I'm hoping that happens. I've also reached out to Central Insurance. We're probably in the early stages. We'll see. The tough part is I'm domiciled in New York, and when I launch Rogue, we will specifically be writing in New York to begin. The other thing with Cincinnati that's interesting is they tend to be more regionally based. So they're going to want me to work this area primarily, which is okay. I think that will change as I show that I can do more, and the accounts I can reach larger, profitable accounts. For them, I think that's a partnership that is going to take work, and I'm willing to put that work in, with the understanding that I know the quality of carrier that Cincinnati is. I don't have access to companies like Acuity or Westfield because they simply don't write in New York State yet, because New York State is effing terrible to carriers. Like, it's just a terrible place to do business, and carriers come in and they get bounced out, and it's just, New York State is not friendly to insurance carriers in general. So, there are a lot of high quality insurance carriers that just simply don't operate in New York. And I won't have an opportunity to work with them until we start to expand, which is really probably a Q4, Q1 2021 initiative. I want to get this thing up off the ground. I want to get revenue coming in. I want to dial in the processes that we have here. And then I'm going to start to work towards looking into new markets. But my initial perspective is I want to choose the insurance carriers that I'm going to work with, and I want to be a real partner with them. And so what does that mean? What that means is I don't necessarily care what lines of business I write. I care about the experience my clients get and the quality of the insurance programs that we create for them and the ease at which we're able to provide that service to our clients. So from that respect, I care very much about the people I'm working with. I just don't necessarily care what their industry is. So with the carriers that I choose to do business with, who also choose me back, we create a partnership. I want to work within their appetites to create the advertising, marketing programs, the campaigns, and the service offerings that best serve the lines of business which they know they can be competitive in and that we can deliver the best product on. And I think that's a slightly different spin. I know there are others who do this, but I agree with the philosophy with those who do. And the point, my point here is, instead of coming in and say, I write contractors. Well, I love contractors. Contractors are great. I wrote a ton of contractors when I was with the Murray Group. But if the carriers that I'm working with, that I've decided to partner with, aren't interested in contractors, then I'm not going to shove contractors down their throat. I think being adaptive and malleable is incredibly important moving forward, and that is how I'm going to set Rogue up so that we can quickly adapt, pivot, course correct the lines of business we're working with. Again, there are certain lines of business that you really have to be an expert in. Absolutely. And I'm not going to have 100 of these. I'm saying from the beginning, I want to pick 1 to 3 lines of business with that carrier that I partner, or carriers that I partner, that we go after, that are specific to those carriers that they want to write, and build those campaigns in partnership with them. And that's how we're going to attack carriers. So the first carrier that I choose will be a carrier who's willing to operate in this digital hybrid, this brackish agency, who's going to have 1 foot in traditional and 1 foot in digital at all times, who's constantly going to be pushing the envelope to improve the customer experience, but at the same time is willing to offer, who's willing to be a real partner to the carrier and try to form a relationship that is deeper and hopefully more sustainable, profitable, and longer lasting than most of the relationships that they have in their office. Again, we're very new. I'm sure we're gonna get punched in the face many times throughout this process, but these are just from being an agent for 8 years, and then for the 6 years that I spent kind of in the media and marketing and consulting and speaking part of this industry, touching so many different agencies. This is the philosophical belief structure with which Rogue Risk is going to choose the carriers that we decide to partner with. And like I said, from a commercial lines perspective, Cincinnati is our #1 target. Then we're going to work with Indium. Love to get someone on a national basis, a Liberty Travelers or Hartford in as well on a direct appointment, but we'll see. We can get to all those carriers through Indium if we need to. So I'm not overly concerned with having direct appointments with them at the beginning. What really matters is being able to find the carriers that are willing to work with us and go from there. I don't have the answers. It's the malleability and adaptability that I want to bring to this business, that I hope is a differentiator for us long term, because I think in general, these are ideas that agencies have to be okay with. And I want to build Rogue from the start with this mindset. So on a personal line side, because we're New York only, probably New York Central, definitely want to look at Plymouth Rock just came to New York. They have some really interesting products from a digital standpoint, so I may look at them. There's always the Travelers, Hartfords, those kind of guys. Safeco has always been tremendous to me. They have a high quality product. Safeco's probably #1 on my list for personal lines carriers. So I'll probably try to get Safeco in. I'm hoping I can get an appointment with them. We'll see. I'm definitely trying to leverage the relationships I've built and find, again, I want to keep the smallest stable of carriers possible, 3 to 6, 3 to 7 carriers that we can really dial in on and work well with. I have no intention of having 20, 30 carriers in my office. That's what Indium would be for in this case. So guys, hope this gave you some insight into how we're building. Again, a lot of this is still kind of high level as we work through these early details, but the deeper we get into Rogue Risk, the deeper we're going to get into the nitty gritty. And it's going to be really fun once we get into some of the hardcore marketing stuff, campaigns, building out process. I'm probably going to talk about agency management systems in upcoming episodes, and all that. And I just appreciate you for being part of the inside. This is a project this particular project, the inside, is something I'm very passionate about. And the fact that I'm getting to share what I believe is the future of my family, Rogue Risk, with you, and you're helping me do that by being part of this community, means the world to me. So thank you. Wish you nothing but the best. I hope everyone had a great holiday, and I'll catch you next week on the inside. And if you have any questions, just hit me up inside the Facebook group. All right, guys, love you. Peace.